Yeah, I'll start with just plain awful as well. And kind of the perennial team in this category is Vanderbilt. I mean, all of their quarterbacks left. They'll be starting from scratch with their new OC, Tim Beck from New Mexico State. He's going to bring his quarterback, Diego Pavia, and I apologize if I mispronounced that, but he'll bring him with him, and we'll see if he wins the spot. They lost their top 4 wide receivers to the transfer portal. All 4 of their top receivers. So more personnel change there, and will be a challenge for sure. One thing I thought was interesting, Clark Lee will assume the defensive play calling duties this year. So we'll see how that goes on the defensive side of the ball. And then another team that may come as a surprise to many in this category, I've decided to go ahead and put Florida in the just plain awful. Florida fans, don't hate me too much. But here we go. Billy Napier's 11-14 record through 2 seasons is the worst 2-year start at Florida since Charlie Pell in 1979 to 1980. If he has another losing season, we're going to be taking it back to the 1940s for that history. So Graham Mertz returns at quarterback, so that might help some with some consistency. Last year's defense was pretty abysmal, so Napier fired a lot of those defensive coaches. We'll see how their replacements fare. But yeah, a lot of pressure on Napier this year, so we'll see how that goes.
Battle.
Yeah. Moving to the dog water category. First, I had Arkansas. KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders are gone to UCF and South Carolina, respectively. So they'll be counting on transfers. Taylon Green from Boise State at quarterback, and Jaquindon Jackson from Utah at running back. So they're just in looking at their last few seasons, they've got to start winning more close games. That's really been kind of the difference in their record. A lot of those close games they've not come through. So South Carolina, I'm also going to put in the dog water category. Replacing Rattler and Leggett won't be easy. Yes, Rocket Sanders is joining them, which could help, but they'll have to protect him. And redshirt freshman Lenoris Sellers to be successful on the offensive side of the ball. Defense returning a lot of experience, but they've got a lot of ground to make up after last year's setback. So Mississippi State, I did put them a tier above in the dog water category. They are it's certainly going to be a challenge for Jeff Lebby coming in as head coach. He does bring a history of running prolific offenses, but they have a lot of challenges on the schedule, specifically on the road at Texas, Georgia, and Ole Miss. So it's gonna be a little bit tough there. All right, let's move to Midland, which is my personal favorite category here because it just sounds funny. Kentucky, excited to see what Brock Vandagriff can do with that offense. I am sad that he left Georgia, but I get it. I'm happy for him. Hopefully, I'm hoping that he'll have a chance to do good things, not against Georgia, hopefully, but against other teams. It's hard to really know about Kentucky right now, but I think there is a level of optimism there. So the next team I have there is Auburn. Peyton Thorne will be starting. Tyrone Nix comes in from Ole Miss at OC. And DJ Durkin comes over from A&M as DC. So a lot of moving pieces here. Their schedule is Midland too, with some easy ones as well as some real challenges. So we'll see. Okay, sorry, Matt. I am putting Tennessee in the Midland category.
Hate it.
I think the Vols will be good, but their schedule has some real challenges sprinkled throughout it. However, that's fluid. If they start handling some of those, I think that they definitely deserve to be moved up. Texas A&M is also in the Midland category. The Jimbo era is over, and it's Mike Elko's turn. So lots of changes going on, but they're not talentless. The cupboard isn't bare, so to speak. A stat A&M fans won't want to hear is the fact that the Aggies have managed only 12 wins in the past 2 years. So that's not great. They're going to want to up those. And then another one that I put in the Midland category is Oklahoma, simply because there's lots of unknowns for them, including a new quarterback in Jackson Arnold. So the defense is supposed to be solid, but they have many tests, including Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Alabama, and LSU. So that's a rough schedule for your first year in the SEC. So if they get through, relatively unscathed, they'll definitely be at the top or near the top in the rankings. All right, so let's move to the contenders category. And like you, Matt, I put Mizzou here, Missouri. Obviously, expectations are through the roof. And they're also helped out with the schedule that you alluded to earlier, Matt, that features, get this, Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, and UMass out of conference. And in conference, they have Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. So ain't a whole lot of tests in there.
They have. Wait a minute. Hold on now. Did you say UMass and Buffalo?
Correct. And Boston College
Like,
and Murray State.
yeah, like that's like three teams that have been in the bottom 10 for the last 20 years. Like, that's
Yeah,
Mizzou fans. If you're out there, if y'all don't find a way to win 9 games, I don't know what to tell you.
right. No, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, the schedule really
I wish
sets
we
up
had that
nicely.
schedule. Damn.
I think the
Right.
schedule is going to get them when they get to playoff
I
time.
think it might get exposed at the end. Yeah, you never know. They will have tests against Alabama and Oklahoma, so we'll see how that goes. Next in the contender category.
Hold on, wait. I
Yeah.
just had a nightmare scenario where Missouri finds a way to win just enough games to finish into the playoff, and as a result, Tennessee doesn't make the playoff. And I think
Wow,
that makes me
you truly went to a dark place there.
that I really did go to a really dark place there.
Immediately.
Sorry,
Wow.
Wes. Go ahead. Go
You're
ahead,
good.
Wes.
Um,
Oh God.
Next is Ole Miss. There's no Quinshon Judkins this year. He's at Ohio State now. But Jackson Dart is back for his final season. They did really well in the transfer portal again, as they are wont to do. And they're poised to make a charge. So I'm going to put them there in the contender category. Another team here is LSU. They're going to adjust to life after Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors. So it's going to be challenging, but Nussmeier has looked pretty good. He will be the guy in his fourth season. I think it's not his first time starting, but it'll be his first full season starting at quarterback there.
I seem to remember he also looked really good in the spring, didn't he? Weren't there a lot of people talking about how
Yeah,
good his numbers looked during the spring game? So I mean,
yeah,
he may be somebody.
he's
I
good.
can tell you that on College Football 25, he's been winning the Heisman a lot. So I don't know what that
Nice,
says.
nice, but you never know. It's funny. So, LSU's turned around quickly under Brian Kelly, as their fans love to remind us of. But it seems they're kind of in a bit of a weird spot with maybe Texas coming in and maybe going to take their place, kind of as that team right under, the top and challenging for the top spot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. They're right there, as they've been the past few seasons. Then let's go to the favorites, and I'm going to start with Texas. There are a few tests on their schedule with Georgia and maybe Michigan and Oklahoma, but they drew a fairly favorable schedule that sets them up nicely as well. So Texas looking good. I think they were picked in a preseason SEC poll to finish second in the conference, so they're right there. Okay, and then Alabama. It might seem like a weird place to put them after Saban's retired, but for me, this is kind of like a placeholder, right? Like similar to some of the logic we've done with some of these other teams. I think they need to look bad before I'm going to drop them. Like until they prove to me that they're not going to continue along the same trajectory they have, the past few seasons, I think I'm going to keep them there. And we'll see if they live up to the hype. And that brings us to Georgia. Tough schedule this year, as you mentioned, which, it's been a complaint in the past few years about Georgia, but there's no room for complaints this year. It's going to be a tough one with some tough ones on the road, including Bama and Texas on the road. But until they're beaten and their weaknesses are exposed, they're the favorites. So we'll see. And I did just see where them and Ohio State just pulled even nationally in terms of favorites to win the title this year. So we'll see how that goes. But that's mine.
Why are we always so high on Ohio State? Ohio State and Notre Dame have to be the two teams that are constantly in the mix.
It's all about
And
the
I don't
brand,
get
Matt. It's all about the brand. So.
ridiculous.
When you voluntarily put and make it a mandate to have the in front of your name. So you're listed in the T's instead of the
Oh.
O's.
Like, and we do petty stuff here in the South and in the SEC as well, but still the whole crossing off every single M on campus also for Michigan week. That's a bit much. I don't know. I
That's
digress.
pretty heavy. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Hey, we
Jesse,
better stop though because the Ohio State fans will get in our comments and they'll be all over the place. So.
they sure will.